So as I'm reading this, good time creates hard time creates good man, and good time creates weak man. So we in the phase while I'm reading the book. It explains a lot more. Links below. About as men in today's world, and I'm going to include myself as well. The phase video games and pornography. Now, on the book stated that people in the 90s, whoever committed this sort of stuff is seen as weirdo or sicko, okay? Because it's actually dysfunctional, it's actually not family orientated, it's just promoting a very different selfish individualism. Um, just pretty much, you could say, useless, not useful member. Maybe that's a good wording. Because I've seen, you know, gaming is another form of warfare. All right. During the hard times, we go to war. Man goes to war, and when we lose, men get killed, and women get raped. And that was something in the book has stated. You see, I did not know what's the aftermath of war end up to be, but this book clearly makes sense, and that's what happens during war, right? So now it can explain a lot more about, in the past and the history that my parents referring to. But I'm not gonna get to talk about that on this video because that's not the video. Or maybe I could talk about, no, I won't talk about it. But you know, now we have these, pornography and video games classified as that. No wonder why my auntie, for the past couple of years, I told my auntie so many times that I didn't want to get married or find a girl. She told me that I'm a weirdo and sicko. And that didn't cross my mind because it was actually a norm in the Western world that it's okay to be single or normal. But to think about how much it can damage as an individual playing as much video games or watching pornography. And I've hear a lot of my old friends talks about how many times they masturbate in a day, and it's like addictive thing. And is it normal? Because if we look back as perform sexuality, masturbation is part of the sodomy. Sex to engage in a sexual act is the goal is to produce the next generation, deliver the offsprings. Nowadays, one night stands, sodomy come across with masturbation, oral sex, bestiality. Now, now obviously bestiality still happens, but that's probably a small number. But let's just talk about in today's world, we have literally broken all that. People who engage in sodomy goes to jail, get killed, get stoned. This is actually uh, hugely disadvantaged towards the LGBT community in the past. But sex without before marriage was a crime. But we have evolved to today's world where now masturbation, oral sex, and as well engaging with sodomy, engaging with dysfunctionality, and not pursue the family unit or marriage. It has an effect on a toll on men and in today's world, saying, what are we? And I think this book literally outlines the importance of men, even though a traditional men role has kindly declined, whether you know coming from jobs or hunting. We lost hunting. We lost the fact that being masculinity, and especially with the education department, what I'm being seeing with the university, how it has betrayed men. It was very, very anti-patriarchal, blaming, shaming, disadvantage, and it's just going to lead to more. Now I understand why it's got leads to snowflakes or soy boys, and apparently I look like a soy boy. I don't look like a masculine man, and even though one thing that really popped up into my mind is when I watched the best, the funniest scenes of The Hangover. You see, they're all weak men, all right? But the moment they engage in a drug or alcohol activity, they're suddenly becoming a very, very vicious, masculine man. And I think the reason why this film was so successful is because it's to show the true vicious, manly power. And you could see that on the news, on your local country or your local news, and how has alcohol and drugs has fueled people into vicious behavior, right? So vicious behavior that may killed or one punch killed. And now we are banning everything. And some cultures, especially in Russia or northern bits of part of China, having alcohol, having getting onto a fight is like a normal thing after you have the alcohol. The next day you have a beer and you forgive. We literally lost everything. What is defined as a strong man? We lost everything. Now, as a person who, there's a difference between Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. Victoria still can do drinking. There's the drinking lockouts. Where Sydney in Queensland in Australia, there's alcohol lockout. So after 10:30 or certain time, you cannot bar hop, or liquor stores will close for sure, or you cannot have shots or things like that. It's just to sustain your your behavior. So when you watch The Hangover, and you see them, they're so masculine. The things that they do. Probably steal a cop car or engage in non-conservative values and try to break all the laws and everything. That's the masculinity. So drugs and alcohol has few many people. I can't say only just men, but a lot of people into wrongdoing, and that's the only way in the modern society that we've engaged in the tribalism behavior, man and woman, after they have anything, whether they risky sex or get engaged in they get loose, they lay loose. And now we are contained on doing everything. What's the funniest thing? Like, boys can't be boys and girls can't be girls. And I remember at one moment when I was a volunteer and I was on a bus trip, and you know there was a lot of in the volunteer there was a lot of guys around my age, and we have a ball which is chucking around in the bus, and this fella right front of me, I kind of got excited and probably just bang on the probably once or twice on back of his seat, and he tells me to stop it straight away, behave like a guy. Everything is, you have to be representatively behave, and they just not to tolerate any childish behavior or boys' behavior or men's behavior. And we've gone to the stage that we are restraining ourselves to be this. a good citizen, a good, personality. We cannot lay loose our tribalism behavior, and this is where it has leads us to. We show our masculinity through our pornography, and you see what the pornography subtitles has craziest amount of title. Stepmom's doing this, daddy's doing that, daddy's doing this, or call me daddy, or daddy called me this, or son called me this, or there's some effed up titles that it draws a lot of people's attention, and it's very dysfunctional. If you read through those titles, and this is where it would destroy all of us guys. But at the same time, what is the purpose in today's world? Because we are constrained, we can't do this, we can't defend. If somebody, I said this to my girlfriend, and saying that if somebody sexual harasses her on the spot when I'm with her, I can't just go over and give that guy a punch or defend myself or get a knife or get anything, because that will backfire me. Oh, you engage in a one punch law. Oh, you've engaged in this. You're supposed to let the law enforcement to handle all this situation. Everything is law enforcement, where we cannot protect, right? Even the other day in a shop, right? There's some stupid laws, like, if a burglar comes into my house and stole something, and let's just say I have a dog outside and literally bitten the burglar, I'm the one is responsible because the dog is vicious and has attacked the burglar. So I'm a crime as well. If there's a shop, if someone's shoplifting, you cannot touch the person. You touch the person or you attack the person, you go to jail. We gone to the stage that sit back, let the law enforcement gets in. We cannot defend ourselves. That's why this book has labeled us generation the weirdo and sicko. Where technically you cannot do anything. We cannot. We lost our manhood roots already. You got to be strong. You got to be tough. You got to be defend. You can't do that anymore. So when you have that, there's nothing you can do. Therefore, we feel on drugs or alcohol and make us be in that way to show our masculinity, release that manhood that's been holding us on back. And our sexual behavior or physical behavior, abusive behavior, our nature just released. But the moment you sober up, you're a criminal. And it is bad because now everyone is can't be themselves. They have to restrain. They have to be this. They have to be soft. They can't be aggressive, vicious, and especially what universities are tapping at the moment. You cannot be yourself, and this is where guys are leading to video games and pornography. Everything is indoor now. Therefore, it actually damaged all our guys' minded and ability, purpose in life, because we cannot be who are we. And another factor, of course, with kids, who especially boys, tend to be can't be what's that word, fidgeting, or like, you know cannot move or cannot stand still. You have to dumb down. Oh, he must have ADHD or ADD, hyperactive. Maybe we should chuck him on medication to calm him down. That is the one thing that I'm glad that my parents didn't dump me down with medication, even though I had ADHD and dyslexic. And now when you go to high school and especially university, of course, kids has to go into a certain stage that not be fidgeting when you go to university phase, but going through primary school and high school, dumbing down on medication, the long-term effect nowadays, loads of mental health has skyrocketed. Obviously, men and women, I can't speak about women in this context, but well, I can say that, but this title is mainly for strong times creates no hard time creates strong men, and weak time creates no, good time creates weak men. We're too comfortable. This book has eye opened in different aspect on how I couldn't puzzle in the past. What is the difference between a man from a lot of us locals always blame the internationals or the migrant workers steal our jobs and steal our everything and blah 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 blah. All right, that's what we hear, and they are not wrong. They are right. They work hard. They work less. They work for cheaper labor, and they don't chuck for sickie. They don't complain because they come from a hard time country. You come into this country and saw this huge opportunity or wealth, and they grab it. They work really hard, and when they get there, they move up the ladder. They build their family and everything. Where us, we complaining, saying, "Oh, look at with tax," or they start the business, or they work two, three jobs at the same time. Whether they have to, support the family back home or support the family back here. That is the hardship. That is, you know, the tough times create hard men. For them, they saw that opportunity and worked really hard. Many migrants who flew to go to another country, they work 10 times harder if they realize this country gives them opportunity, secured, and to chase the dream. Many of the locals, second generation like me, third generation, has never experienced the hardship time where my parents did when the first generation, when they came here. They work very bloody hard where the second generation doesn't. And look at us. And each time I see maybe the second generation, maybe they do doctor's degree if they're lucky enough, or law degree, or engineer, or whatever. But they're not like very risk taking or hard competitive worker as what their parents do, even though they didn't speak the language of English or other language that they moved to, but they work goddamn hard. So that's the video that I would like to address to see, and and I'll definitely put that link down below. But you have to purchase the book. Fortunately, it's worth buying, and it's a book that it opens my eyes. And I think the next couple of videos I'm going to be talking about this, strong time and weak time, how it creates us men into a different stage. Because technically we haven't been to a war, we did, but it's like now it's not conscripted. You're voluntary going to go to war, of course, whether it's Afghanistan or Syria or whatever. But those people, when they come back, they're a lot stronger. They always give birth. They always give. If you look at the soldiers, right? If you have soldiers friends, right, or military, or whatever the wording you guys use. Sorry, if I use soldiers. If they go to a country, right, before they go for the next generation, or after they come back from the war, they want to start a bigger family. Now, the problem with after they come back, they got PTSD because they dumped down medication. Um, that's a huge problem in today's world. They dump down medication. Um, you see the fact that dump down medication, now they got PTSD and everything. And this is another part. These people were strong, but they're not strong afterwards when they come back with all these mental, psychological issues in their mind. But those who comes back without psychological, or they can maintain the psychological, they usually have a better life. They tend to work harder for their family and do everything as best as they can. It's like, when Mike Tyson lost one of his daughter. His daughter got strangled in, I think it was a treadmill, and he got killed. Before Mike Tyson was, he doesn't care. He breaks the law, taking drugs. He's being careless. He's just be this vicious guy. The moment he, the moment he's witnessed his daughter death, he changed. That hardship, that pain that he went through, it changed him completely. Stay away from the boxing ring, and try to be the best father role model as best as he can for his kids. He even said it on, I think his Mrs. Kiki, and said that he's very, very protective. He's very, very this and that. He's a lot more careful for his kids, and he's a lot more powerful. He tried to go on a vegan diet where he lost weight. He's like, you could see the power for himself. When I read his biography before he got married, he was just whacking off, jerking off all the time. And before games, he does, engage in sexual activities before his matches, and still beats the guy. And that's not the tough side of him. The tough side of him is when you see the hardship. All right, when his mentor passed away, it creates his hardship at the beginning. But after that, he went downhill because everyone's saying he's a good fighter, he's the winner, this and that. There's nothing wrong with him, and he just slowly deteriorate. Even though he's winning game, what's the point winning? But that hardship that creates people, that is the hardest thing. And I guess the good times, the bad times, this analogy, it works with everyone, but especially those who's coming from a hardship countries. They tend to work even harder, especially if they don't have psychological problems behind them, aside of them. So yeah, I guess that's the video. So yeah.